On the surface, Superman is a pretty boring character. He's an overpowered paragon of goodness with few character flaws. Yet, Superman still remains one of the most popular superheroes of all time. Why does this big blue Boy Scout still speak to us today? Superman was created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, two sons of Jewish immigrants who moved to America, fleeing persecution and hoping for a better life. After creating several failed versions of Superman, including one who was actually a villain, Siegel and Shuster finally settled on the idea of an alien immigrant from the planet Krypton, who wears the now iconic S, cape, and outer underwear, and pretends to be the mild-mannered journalist Clark Kent. Superman debuted within the first issue of Action Comics in 1938. The character went on to be wildly successful. To Siegel and Shuster, Superman represents someone who would always stand up for those in need. Champion of the oppressed, the physical marvel who had sworn to devote his existence to helping those in need.
You okay?
Siegel. In many ways, this was how many saw America at the time. While America has had a checkered history with helping the oppressed, its ideals has always been to protect and welcome diverse people. To children of immigrants, the symbolism of America was an extremely powerful inspiration and motivation forward. At the same time, World War II was just beginning in Europe, and the US was hesitant to get involved. Superman was a strong argument that those with power had the responsibility to help others. To quote another superhero origin story, "With great power comes great responsibility." This mixture of power and pure goodness is what makes Superman such an inspiration to those who read him. We often believe that power corrupts those who are good, leaning into a cynical belief that those in power are ultimately selfish. Superman tries to show that leaders can stand for something larger and bigger than themselves, and actually follow through on them. Superman appeared when trust and belief in American values was high. So it's perhaps not surprising that cynical takes on Superman started to appear when distrust in US government and ideals were low. Watchmen and The Dark Knight Returns feature cynical versions of Superman. Watchmen's Dr. Manhattan has become so distant from humanity that he no longer even cares what happens to human society. The Dark Knight Returns has Superman working as a proxy government agent. Both these interpretations came out of the 1980s, an era filled with government scandals, protests, and rising crime in America. Even today, cynical versions of Superman seem to be popular, with Injustice featuring a Superman who murders the Joker, and Batman v Superman focusing on the idea that someone who is all-powerful cannot be all good. Once again reflecting our modern era's distrust in institutions to protect us, our real-world social and political struggles become reflected in the writing of an already politicized character of Superman. Yet the classic Superman, who fights for truth, justice, and the true American way, still remains popular to many of us today, with such interpretations like Tyler Hoechlin's Superman and the fan fervor around Smallville's Tom Welling appearing in the Crisis on Infinite Earths event. Not to mention fans clamoring for a new Superman big screen appearance, his headless cameo in Shazam notwithstanding. Because while our everyday life may seem imperfect, we all still want to believe that goodness would ultimately endure, that humanity can aspire to be something better than what we are today. Superman shows us that we can fight for our better selves. While Superman can and has been used to make salient art critical of the world that we live in today, Superman is at his best when he inspires us to be better than we are. Superman is not super because he is strong or invincible. He is super because he lives ideals that we all hold dear within us.